Good evening, I'm Rachel Maddow. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Today, it was announced by AP and NBC News that Joseph R. Biden is the next president-elect of the United States of America. And that means that Kamala Harris is the next vice president-elect of the United States of America, the first woman and first woman of color to be elected as vice president of the United States of America. This is a monumental red letter date in American history. I mean, we all know it. We all know it. This is huge. We've all known this was coming. But now that it's here, it's kind of overwhelming. I just don't know really how to take it, but I'm super excited. I cannot wait for these two to be sworn in January. It's gonna be, it's huge for this country. And there were record people showing up to the polls this year, even among mail-in ballots, among absentee ballots, among people who stood in line for hours to exercise their right in this democracy of America to vote, to make their voice heard. You did that. You had your voice heard. You went and voted, and it's all because of you that we now have Biden-Harris as the elected next president and vice president of the United States of America. This is big, so give yourself a pat on the back. Have a glass of champagne today, you know, enjoy it. And I don't want to diminish this. I don't want to diminish this in terms of American history, because this is a big thing for this country. But I also don't want the work to stop there. I don't want people to just think that now that they voted and had their voice heard that they can just not do anything and kind of just ride the wave that's coming. This is a great opportunity. This shows that voting works and that we can change the country. And it's a really empowering thing. So we should all take this as a win, but also an momentum to keep working towards a country that we want to live in, a more just and fair America. So I want to bring in our special correspondent, comedian, and activist, Melvis, right now. Melvis, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Well, thank you very much, Rachel. It's always an honor to be on your show. So we were just talking about the voting is amazing, record turnouts in America. But if this election has shown us anything, it's really that this is a divided country. This election was so close. It was almost 50-50, which means that Trump supporters are still out there. They're not going away. It's not like they're just disappearing. They're still going to be here. So for people who voted and think that they don't need to do anything, what advice would you give them?
Well, I think you're absolutely right, Rachel. This is not a time to just sit by the wayside and let life pass you by. This is a great time to keep on working, you know? And one way that you can do that is keep up to date with your local elections. Pay attention to what's happening in your city and your county, and then remind other people around you to keep going and voting. So that's one of the biggest things that we can do right now. Another thing is to, as you said, there's a lot of, we're a real divided country right now. We gotta have some tough conversations with people who don't have the same opinions as us. Election season really brings out the worst in people, you know, it really brings up a lot of heated stuff. So I think since we're past the election, we'll be able to kind of have a little more understanding of each other, and we really need to have some conversations and be open to understanding a different perspective from our own.
I think you're so right. And I know at least from my perspective, it's really hard to have those conversations. A lot of people are stubborn or proud of the way that they are, and they can struggle having these conversations with people who have a different perspective from them. What advice would you give to these people on how to have constructive conversations with people of a different perspective from theirs?
Well, I think you're absolutely right, Rachel. These are tough conversations to have. The election always kind of brings out the worst in people, but I also want to remind everyone that we are still in a pandemic. This is a tough year for a lot of people, and it may seem like we're not very similar, but if you lean in close, if you exercise a little patience, if you take the time to listen to someone, I bet you'll find that you're more similar to them than you first thought. So all I can say is to move forward in this country, we gotta listen to each other. We gotta have a little understanding. We gotta have compassion for each other, and we gotta be able to listen and also convey our thoughts back to someone else with respect. And that's the only way that we're gonna get through this. And I'm reminded of a song that came out back in 1968, one of my songs called A Little Less Conversation. But I want to switch it up and make it a little more conversation, because that's what we're talking about, having some more conversations and being open to different perspectives and being able to listen and understand each other with respect. So, do you know how that goes? Let me sing a little bit for you. A little more conversation, a little more action. All this aggravation ain't satisfaction in me. A little less bite, a little less bark. A little less bite, a little more spark. Open your mind and open up your heart. Baby, come and talk to me with understanding. Hey, there's a little bit of that for you. But I just want to say that let's not discount each other. We're all American citizens. We gotta live in this country together. So there's one way that we can all kind of live together in harmony and move forward.
Let's not discount each other. Let's listen to each other. We're all Americans. Wise words from Melvis. Thank you so much, Melvis, for joining us. And go have a glass of champagne, celebrate tonight, and have a good time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm Rachel Maddow. Thank you for joining me. And if you want to see more from Melvis, go follow Melvis on Instagram at Melvis the Drag King or on YouTube at Melvis the Drag King. Thank you. Thank you very much.